What is your worst Airbnb experience? Story 1. I was working away and my girlfriend had come to visit. She checked into the place while I was still working, and I was going to meet her at around 1 a.m. when I finished. According to her, the room was actually the host's own bedroom, and he was going to sleep on the couch, which was weird enough. She called me at about 12 a.m., saying she checked into a hotel because she found a bed bug while she was sat on the bed. Apparently, when she told the host, he begged her to stay and tried to force money into her hands. Airbnb were actually really good about it. We put in a complaint about it in the morning, and within an hour were contacted by phone. They refunded us in full, removed the host from the site, and paid for our hotel. Story 2. I was staying in an Airbnb to celebrate a friend's birthday. It was actually nicer than the apartment my friend lived in, so we invited people there instead. Late afternoon comes along, and we're sitting around a table drinking. It's pouring outside. I hear a weird gurgling from the bathroom, so I go check it out and find that the toilet started to back up a bit. I call the landlord. He tells me that this happens from time to time when the rain is heavy. The apt is actually below ground level. I plunge and flush the toilet, and it goes down fine, and I rejoin my friends in the common room. All is well. About 15 minutes pass. I suddenly hear a much more aggressive gurgle coming from the bathroom. I run over to find that not only is the toilet backing up at a worrying rate, but that dirty water is also erupting up through the ground where the toilet is screwed into the floor. I turn off the water valve to the toilet, but it just keeps coming. I toss some towels in an attempt to slow this poop waterfall and call the Airbnb host, who says he'll be over ASAP. At this point, the shower bath is filling with a rank, deep brown liquid, and the water from the toilet is spilling over the bathroom threshold into the hallway. Our host arrives with a shop vac and starts using it to suck up the mess with my help, while my guests are huddled on the couch in fear, trying to find alternative lodging. I'm standing next to the host with towels when the shop vac lets out this ratchet mechanical noise, which is also accompanied with a blast of raw sewage through the exhaust vent, covering me in aerosolized waste. Turns out that this shop vac isn't actually equipped to handle liquids and doesn't now seem to be working. We then flee to my friend's place, where I take a very long, very hot shower. Not really the Airbnb host's fault, but certainly my worst experience to date. Story 3. My group rented the second floor of a house with access to the first floor where the owner lived. She was part of a Great Dane rescue organization and had 3 of those huge dogs. One was old, with huge tumors growing all over its body, and 2 of them were young and aggressive. We would try to go out and sit in the yard, and they would charge at you and only pull up at the last second. She was all like, "Oh, they're so sweet," but honestly, they were a little terrifying. On our last day there, the old one died, and when I went downstairs to say goodbye to the lady, she was sitting on the floor sobbing. I was like, "Sorry about your dog, gotta go." My friends stayed later and ended up having to help her bury it. Story 4. Rented a cabin in the middle of nowhere for my birthday a couple of years back. Everything is going fine, until the creepy neighbor showed up and started to hit on the ladies we brought. When I say creepy, I am talking hills have eyes creepy. Had to finally tell him to F off after we caught him stealing beer and cigarettes and brought it home. Story 5. No communication before check-in. No code given for the front door keypad. Didn't tell me about the private parking lot he had. And this is even with the host having a designated Airbnb manager. Like, bruh, what are you doing? Luckily, he was there, so he was able to give me the information I needed. There were three somewhat sketchy dudes sitting on the front stoop of the house for a few hours. The host himself was nice, but some things seemed off. He seemed really thin, way thinner than his photo. He wasn't fat before. But he walked around with a liter bottle of some soda, drinking straight out of it. Another guy came in, and the host said he helps him take care of the house. This guy looked like a drug addict, crazy thin with matted hair, and the first thing he asked for was the soda bottle. So I grew suspicious of that soda. The room was nice though. I got settled in, and everything was how I thought it was going to be. Not long before I was going to go to sleep, the host asked me if I would be willing to trade rooms with another guest in the home, because their room they booked didn't have its own private bathroom, and she'd have to walk down the stairs to use the bathroom, and she can't walk that well. I was like, sorry? Then, I remember, after 11 p.m., I heard some hammering. It went for at least half an hour. I was like, what the f? The host was actually doing home improvement work with a hammer while his guests in multiple rooms were trying to sleep. Just really weird. I think I gave a 3-star since the room was fine. Story 6. My friend, her husky and I were road tripping through the New England area, and she booked an Airbnb in Maine, our last stop. The host was a very old man, maybe in his 60s, and was very chatty. He showed us around this very old house. The layout was almost a full circle, and all the rooms were connected, meaning there were 2 doors to almost every room, including the bathroom. He also let us know that he sleeps in the attic, upstairs. We decided to stay in the one room together, even though there was a second tiny bedroom connected to the master bedroom. In the small bedroom, there were these small black and white pictures all over the walls, and none of those people looked they were of him. He said he never furnished the house, instead just bought the house as is, and lives in it now. During the day, we did our own thing, and when we got back late, he was still awake, insisting to talk to us. Finally, we say we are tired, and I go to shower and ask my friend to stay in the bathroom with me since there are 2 doors, both that don't close all the way, therefore no lock. But upon opening the shower door, there was so much grime and mildew all over, there was no way I would have gotten clean in there. So we get ready to just go to sleep and realize both bedroom doors do not close all the way and no locks. I told her to sleep with the car keys under our pillow in case we needed to make a run for it at night. Luckily, we survived the night. The next morning, he made us breakfast and was talking about how he's traveled to Asia and met some with ladyboys and other Asian women who wanted the American dream and will marry American men to be their submissive or some bullshit. We are Asian. Also, during breakfast, the door to the attic that he stays at kept opening by itself. TLDR. Airbnb's bathroom was atrocious with mildew and grime. Couldn't shower. Host was a weird, yellow-fevered, old, perverted man that may or may not be a killer with these random people pictures on his wall. The house was haunted with doors opening by itself. Story 7. I got an Airbnb that was listed as close to transportation. Translation: directly under the flight path for an international airport. There was no AC and the queen mattress creaked and had a dip in the middle, so my boyfriend and I ended up smashed together in the hot June night. By 5 a.m., the flight started up, and we had to close the window because of the noise. I think I got 3 hours of sleep. I called Airbnb in tears and was able to get my money refunded. We ended up going to a hotel. Comment: I've never had a bad experience, but I only get places that have really good reviews, and I avoid super cheap places. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories.